They say a name says everything about a person. Well, if that were true, then I should have been a Maria, or maybe a Bella. Something soft, elegant, mafia princessy. But no, I'm Vinny. Yeah, Vinny is like a retired boxer. Like a guy who owns a pizza place and knows too much about cement. I'm 24 years old, 162 centimeters, and I carry pepper spray in my Gucci bag even though I've never needed it. Mostly because people don't usually mess with me once they find out who my dad is. Oh, right, my dad is Giovanni Moretti. The one who looks like he just stepped out of a 70s gangster movie, thick gold chain, cigar in one hand, espresso in the other, and the kind of smile that makes FBI agents sweat. And yes, before you ask, I know what you're thinking. I must live in a mansion with trapdoors, secret vaults, and hitmen hiding behind curtains. And I'd love to tell you that's true. But, the reality? We live in Jersey, in a cul-de-sac, with neighbors named Karen and Steve. We even have a garden gnome. But I digress. You're probably wondering how a girl like me, mafia royalty, some might say, ended up falling for a cop. And not just any cop. A tall, rule-following, protein shake drinking, tie always straight cop. Let me rewind. It started on a Tuesday. Which is ironic, because Tuesdays are usually boring. They're like the beige of the week. Not exciting like Friday, not depressing like Monday, just beige. I was at the bakery. I love carbs, okay? Don't judge me. Anyway, I was standing in line, minding my own business, deciding between a croissant and a muffin, the eternal struggle, when I felt someone step beside me. I mean like right beside me, breathing my airspace close. And that's when I saw him. Blue eyes, broad shoulders, hair that looked like it belonged in a commercial for expensive shampoo. And a badge, right there on his belt. I think I gasped, maybe audibly, because I recognized that badge. I'd seen it at my dad's office. Well, office is a strong word. It's more of a cigar lounge with paperwork. The badge belonged to Detective Leo Hart. And Leo Hart was troublesome. For us, anyway. He'd been trying to build a case on my dad for years. Drug trafficking, money laundering, importing illegal cheese from Sicily. Don't laugh, it's a thing. I did the only thing a daughter of a mafia boss could do in that moment. I pretended not to know him. I also may have flirted a little. Just a little. For the drama. And because, well, did I mention the jawline? He looked down at me and smiled. Croissant, he said, pointing at the tray. What? I blinked. You were debating between the croissant and the muffin. Go with the croissant. Muffins are just ugly cupcakes with no personality. I don't know why that made me laugh. But it did. Maybe because he looked like the kind of guy who'd write a parking ticket for fun, and here he was, insulting muffins like it was personal. I'll take the croissant then, I said, and added with a smile, and maybe a side of unsolicited bakery advice. He chuckled. You got it. Now listen. I wasn't supposed to talk to him. My dad would have a stroke if he knew. Or worse, he'd put Leo's picture on the dartboard in the den. But something about that moment felt electric. So, of course, I gave him my number. I know. But hear me out. I thought, what's the worst that could happen? It's not like he'd ever actually call. Right? Spoiler alert. He did. And that was the beginning. Of the chaos. Of the secrets. Of the weirdest love story ever to be whispered in Jersey backstreets. But I'll tell you about that tomorrow. For now, just remember this. My name's Vinny Moretti. And I'm about to ruin everything my father built, because I fell in love with the enemy. The croissant was good, like, surprisingly good, but it was hard to focus on buttery layers and flaky crumbs when Detective Leo Hart had just texted me. Hey. Croissant girl, Friday night? I choked on a sesame seed bagel. Wrong pastry, I know. But I panic ate, okay? It's what I do. Friday night, with him, the man who'd been digging through my family's metaphorical, and sometimes literal, trash cans for years. The same guy my father once referred to as, that nosy little punk with a badge. And yet, my fingers type back, only if muffins aren't invited. Send. What is wrong with me? Let me backtrack for a second. You need to understand something important. I wasn't supposed to like cops. That's literally rule number 1 in the unspoken Mafia Princess Code. Rule number 2. Never date someone who could arrest your uncle. Rule number 3. Never, under any circumstance, let your Nona find out you've gone out with someone named Leo. She had a bad experience with a Leo once in 1963 and still won't talk about it. But Leo wasn't like the other cops who used to come around. He didn't glare at me. He didn't ask probing questions. He didn't flash his badge like he was Batman. No, Leo was funny. He had laugh lines. He held doors. He made eye contact like he was listening to every stupid thing I said about pastries and childhood trauma. So, Friday came, and I wore the most non-mafia outfit I could find, jeans, a cozy sweater, and absolutely no jewelry that could be traced back to Sicily. We met at this little taco joint that had neon signs and mismatched chairs. Romantic, right? Wow, Leo said as I walked in. You look entirely legal. I blinked. Excuse me? He grinned. I mean, you don't look like you're hiding anything. Which is unusual, considering who your father is. Oh, good. He was going to bring it up. I sat down. Listen, are you gonna interrogate me or let me enjoy my overpriced taco? He leaned back, all smooth. Can't I do both? I hate how charming he is. The dinner went surprisingly well. We talked about our childhoods. His mom used to be a librarian, mine used to bribe them. He loved comic books. I grew up thinking The Punisher was a family documentary. He told me he joined the police force because he wanted to protect people. I told him I once accidentally tipped a valet with a fake bill and felt guilty for a week. Somewhere between the second taco and the shared churros, I started thinking the unthinkable. I liked him, not in a fling way. Not in a, he's hot, let's kiss kind of way. But in a, what if I dated someone who didn't carry a gun illegally, kind of way. And then he walked me home. Because of course he did. Leo Hart was the kind of guy who didn't just exist in your life. He escorted you home like it was 1952. We stopped outside my apartment, and I felt his eyes on me. You know, he said slowly, this is probably the worst idea I've ever had. Yeah, I said. Same. Silence. And then, he kissed me, right there, on the street, like we were just two normal people with normal families and normal futures. And for a second, just a tiny second, I forgot who I was. Who he was. Who my father was. I forgot about FBI files, security cameras, and the fact that my cousin Luca once set a guy's car on fire for not paying a parking fee. I forgot it all, until I opened my door, and found my dad sitting in my kitchen. Smoking. In the dark. Like a freaking cartoon villain. Vincenza, he said, using my full name, which, by the way, always means I'm about to get a lecture or a passport to a country with no extradition. I froze. Leo was still outside, thank God. Yes? I croaked. He looked at me, calm, cold, mafia dad mode fully activated. Did you enjoy your taco? That's when I realized something terrifying. My dad had eyes everywhere. And he'd just declared war. I know what you're thinking. Maybe it's not that bad, right? Maybe my dad was just sitting there in my kitchen at 11:47 p.m. because he missed me. Maybe he just wanted to check on his only daughter and offer her a warm hug and leftover cannoli. No, this is Giovanni Moretti we're talking about. My dad doesn't do hugs. He does warnings in the dark. He took a slow drag from his cigar, because of course he did, and pointed the lit end toward the window behind me. Is that a police car outside? He asked, voice calm enough to make me deeply uncomfortable. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. My spine already knew the truth. Number? I said, with all the confidence of a teenager hiding a bad report card. Dad didn't blink. You brought a cop to your front door. Are you actively trying to give me a heart attack? Technically, he brought me, I muttered. That was the wrong thing to say. His eyebrows raised a full half-inch, which, for him, is the emotional equivalent of screaming into a pillow. You know who he is. I do. You know what he's doing. I do. You know what he wants. Yes, I said. Tacos. He already had 3. That got me a death glare so sharp it could have sliced Parmesan. Look, I get it. From his perspective, I'd committed high treason. I might as well have walked into the FBI office wearing a wire and a t-shirt that said my dad is totally guilty. But I wasn't trying to betray him. I was just lonely. Do you know how hard it is to date as a mafia daughter? Half the guys want to impress you by pretending they've watched The Godfather. The other half run when they find out your uncle has a real tiger. Long story. Leo was different, and that was the problem. My dad leaned forward in his chair like a tired king on a cardboard throne. I raised you better than this, he said quietly. And I hated how much that stung. I'm not a snitch, I said. I didn't tell him anything. Yet, his voice wasn't angry. That's what made it worse. It was disappointed. Mafia dad disappointed. The worst kind of emotional blackmail. I folded my arms. So what, I'm not allowed to date anyone now? Am I supposed to marry one of Luca's idiot friends who thinks loyalty means not ratting me out for stealing his garlic knots? Those knots were evidence, Dad muttered. Of what? Carb addiction? We were both spiraling. Eventually, he stood up, walked to the door, and paused. You have one chance, he said without looking back. One chance to make this go away. End it, before it gets messy. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. Instead, I said, he already kissed me. Pause. Deep breath. Dad didn't respond. He just closed the door gently behind him, like a man accepting that his daughter was either in love, or doomed. The next day, Leo texted me. You okay? Define okay. You disappeared after I kissed you. Was it that bad? On a scale of 1 to, my father wants to disown me. It was a solid 9.5. He sent back a meme. A dog wearing a tiny FBI jacket. I smiled in spite of myself. Wanna meet again? He typed. And that's when I realized something dangerous. I did, even if it meant lying. Sneaking. Risking everything. Because when Leo kissed me, it wasn't fireworks or violins. It was worse. It felt safe. And that scared me more than my father ever could. You'd think lying to a cop would be hard. It's not. Turns out, it's actually disturbingly easy when he looks at you like you're the only person in the world who understands the difference between flaky and soggy croissants. That's love, or lactose dependency. Hard to tell at this point. So yeah, I agreed to meet Leo again. At a park. Because nothing says, this is definitely not suspicious, like a mafia princess meeting her detective crush in broad daylight next to a playground. He was already there when I arrived. Sitting on a bench. Hoodie. Sunglasses. Like some kind of undercover dad on Casual Friday. You look like you're spying on toddlers, I said, sitting down next to him. I blend in, he said. People with strollers trust me. Cool. That'll come in handy when you try to arrest my cousin for illegal fireworks. He smiled, but it was tight. Like he wanted to enjoy the joke, but couldn't quite get there. So, he said, how's your family? Translation. Did your dad threaten to feed me to a shark in a custom-built tank? They're fine, I lied. And you? Also a lie. I'm okay. He nodded slowly, like he didn't believe me but didn't want to push. We sat in silence for a minute, watching a kid chase a pigeon with the kind of reckless confidence I envied. Then he spoke. I should probably tell you something. My heart rate increased. Oh, I might be in a little trouble. Panic. What kind of trouble? Like, paperwork trouble? Or body in a trunk kind of trouble? He laughed. Closer to paperwork. I exhaled. Don't scare me like that, Leo. My family only does threats on Tuesdays. I can't add you to the list. He turned toward me, expression softening. It's just, I've been pulled off your father's case. My eyes widened. What? Why? Conflict of interest. Oh. I stared at him. You told someone about us? I had to, he said. I didn't give names, but my boss isn't stupid. He's been doing this since VHS tapes were cutting edge. So what now? I'm off the Moretti case. Officially. Permanently. I should have been relieved. Instead, I felt like I'd swallowed a whole croissant sideways. Because here's the thing no one tells you. When a guy gives up the investigation of a literal crime empire for you, it's romantic. But it's also terrifying. Leo, I said carefully, this isn't a normal relationship. He looked down. I know. My family isn't normal. I know. I have a great aunt who once used a wedding as a cover for a diamond exchange. Okay, I didn't know that. I sighed and looked up at the sky, where a suspiciously innocent cloud was floating like it had no idea about my love life. I don't want to get you in trouble, I said. Or worse, you're not getting me in trouble. Yes, I am. Silence. He reached over and took my hand. He was warm, strong, solid. Mine was slightly sweaty because emotions are gross. I don't care, he said. I like you, Vinny. And I'm not giving this up. Not yet. That should have made me happy. And part of me, the irrational, rom-com loving part, was swooning internally. But the other part, the mafia-trained, instinctual survival part, was screaming, because we weren't just breaking rules anymore. We were drawing targets. That night, I got a call from my cousin Luca. Luca is the kind of guy who wears sunglasses at night and once tried to bribe a meter maid with lasagna. Yo, V, he said, voice low. We got a problem. I paused mid-face mask in my bathroom. What kind of problem? He hesitated. Luca never hesitates. Unless it's life or death. Or someone asked him to spell cappuccino. There's talk, he said. Word on the street is, someone saw you with a cop. Define someone. Someone with eyes and a grudge. Great. That narrows it down to the entire East Coast. Your dad doesn't know yet, he added. But he's gonna. I looked at myself in the mirror. Green clay mask. Bunny ear headband. The face of betrayal. Luca, I said slowly, do me a favor. Anything, cuz. Buy me time. How much? I thought about Leo. And the kiss. And the way my stomach flipped when he smiled like I was the only bakery item on the shelf. 2 weeks. There was a pause. You're lucky I love you more than cannoli. Click. Dash dash dash. 2 weeks. That's what I had. 2 weeks before my world caught fire. And I had no idea if I'd survive the heat, or if I'd just melt like butter on a croissant. Let me tell you something important about the Moretti family. We're not good at secrets. Which is ironic, considering we technically run an empire based on them. But emotionally, we're a mess. My dad has zero poker face. My Uncle Tony cries every time he sees that one pasta commercial with the little Nona stirring sauce for her grandkids. And I once got so nervous lying to a teacher that I confessed to eating glue in kindergarten. Which I didn't, so 2 weeks? That was a pipe dream. By day 2, I was already sweating like a guilty cannoli. Which brings us to the family dinner. A tradition held every Sunday. A time of peace, pasta, and passive-aggressive questions like, so, Vincenza, why do you smell like man's cologne and poor decisions? That one came from Aunt Rosa. She means well, sort of. She also once, accidentally, ran over her ex-husband's new girlfriend's foot. With a Vespa. I smiled. New shampoo. She narrowed her eyes. Is it federal? I choked on a meatball. Dad, across the table, stared at me like he already knew something but was giving me one last chance to come clean. Spoiler. I didn't. Instead, I smiled, shoved more lasagna in my mouth, and pretended to be deeply invested in the story Uncle Marco was telling about a mysterious package that definitely didn't contain iguanas. It did, but I could feel the pressure building. Every look, every fork scrape, every, so when are you settling down? Like I wasn't actively dating someone who could get my whole family arrested. I needed an escape, so I did what any normal, emotionally unstable mafia daughter would do. I faked a stomachache and bolted. I texted Leo, can I come over? Always. Everything okay? Define okay. When I got there, he didn't ask questions. Just opened the door, handed me tea, and let me collapse on his couch like a drama queen in leggings. His apartment was nice. Not mob money. Nice, but clean, cozy, filled with things like books and photos and a lamp that wasn't gold-plated. It was almost normal, which made me deeply uncomfortable. This is weird, I said, staring at the ceiling. What is this? Us. Me being here like we're just a regular couple. Leo sat down beside me. You mean like people who aren't constantly lying to their families and coworkers? Exactly. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You can back out, he said. You know that, right? I wouldn't blame you. I turned to him. Do you want me to? No. Silence. I want this to work, Vinny, he said. But I need to know you do too. And just like that, the air got heavy. He was asking for something real. And I wasn't sure I had any real left. I'd spent my whole life performing, daughter, niece, Moretti, always playing a role, never showing the whole picture. But Leo? He wasn't asking for the performance. He was asking for me. So I did something terrifying. I told the truth. I don't know how to do this, I said quietly. But I want to try. His hand found mine. And for a minute, there was peace. Warm, soft, terrifying peace. After the call, I sat there in the dark. The cannoli peace offering was officially delivered, which meant the countdown had started. There were no more casual dates. No more croissant flirts. No more pretending this was just an inconvenient crush. No, this was war. And I had one goal. Keep Leo safe. Even if it meant losing him. So, I had a plan. Step 1. Stay away from Leo. Step 2. Lie to everyone I love. Step 3. Hope that the universe doesn't implode before Sunday dinner. That's not a good plan, I know. But desperate times call for emotional damage. And I was emotionally wrecked. Because it turns out, trying to ghost a guy who texts you things like, just saw a croissant, thought of you, is really, really hard. I mean, I tried. I ignored his messages. I didn't call. I even changed my lock screen to a picture of my Nona holding a wooden spoon, just to scare myself straight. But I missed him. His stupid smile. His dumb jokes. The way he made me feel like I was more than just the daughter of a man with 5 offshore accounts and a questionable seafood empire. And I knew, deep down, that cutting him off wouldn't make him safer. It would just make us both miserable. Still, I tried, until one night, I got followed. It was 10 p.m. I'd just left the deli on 5th. Don't judge me, they do midnight meatballs and I have no self-control. When I noticed the same car behind me for the 3rd turn in a row. Dark SUV, no headlights. Classic, I'm not stalking you, but I definitely have zip ties in my trunk, energy. I did what any sensible girl raised by criminals would do. I ditched my heels, ran 2 blocks barefoot, and ducked into the one place I knew had 24/7 cameras and a strong Wi-Fi signal. Leo's apartment. Yeah, great plan, right? I banged on the door like a raccoon with anxiety. He opened it in sweats and a t-shirt, blinking like I'd just woken him from a dream where laws made sense. Vinny, I'm not here, I said. You're, what? You never saw me. I am a figment of your imagination. A hallucination caused by too many protein shakes. Get in. He pulled me inside and locked the door. Twice. God bless him. I paced in the living room while he tried to make sense of the chaos tornado that had just entered his space. Someone was following me, I said. I don't know who. Or maybe I do. Which is worse? He handed me water. Could it be your dad? No. Dad doesn't follow. He appears. Like a horror movie but with more cologne. Leo rubbed the back of his neck. Okay. So, what now? I sat on his couch, suddenly exhausted. I shouldn't be here. Agreed. I should leave. You won't. I looked up, and he was staring at me the way he always did. Like I wasn't dangerous. Like I wasn't poisoned. Like I wasn't actively ruining his career and maybe his whole life. I'm trying to protect you, I whispered. I don't need protection, he said. I need the truth. And that broke me. So I told him everything. The family meetings. The warnings. The cannoli diplomacy. The countdown. Leo sat through all of it, nodding slowly, jaw tight. When I finally finished, he said nothing. Just sat there, processing, until finally, he stood. Okay, I'm in. I blinked. You're what? I'm in, he repeated. I don't care about your dad, or your uncles, or your cousin with the suspicious lizard collection. I care about you. So if there's a storm coming, fine. Let it come. I'll stand in it. I stared at him, and realized something ridiculous. I was in love with a cop. A cop who just declared war on a mafia family with 0 backup and 1 good hoodie. We were going to die. Probably, but maybe not today. Have you ever had one of those moments where time slows down? Like, everything around you freezes, the clock, the air, the universe, and all you can hear is your heartbeat doing the Macarena in your ears? Yeah, that was me, on Leo's couch, right after he said, let it come. I'll stand in it. I blinked, then blinked again, because my brain had short-circuited. All I could think was, oh no. I love him. I love this man. I love this deeply inconvenient, justice-driven cinnamon roll of a man. And worse? He meant it. He wasn't just being romantic or noble or weirdly poetic for someone who owns 3 pairs of identical gray socks. He was serious. I stared at him, probably too long, and said, okay. That's it. That's all I said. Not, I love you too. Not, let's run away together and open a bakery in Iceland. Just, okay. Because I'm emotionally constipated and very tired. Leo, to his credit, didn't push. He just nodded, like, cool, I just confessed my undying loyalty and you're giving me a vowel, awesome. The next morning, I woke up on his couch with a blanket over me and a post-it on my forehead that said, made coffee. Didn't rat you out to your mobster family. You're welcome. Signed, L. God, I hated how cute that was. But also, I was in deep now. Which meant I had to play smarter. Because let's be honest, my family wasn't going to just let me date a cop. This wasn't The Notebook, Mafia Edition. No, if I wanted to keep Leo in one piece, I had to start managing the chaos. Which meant making a plan. Plan V1: how to date a cop without getting anyone killed. 1. Keep communication secret, burner phones, smoke signals, very quiet telepathy. 2. Never mention him at family dinners. Who's Leo? Just a librarian who enjoys, baking and jiu-jitsu. 3. Distract Uncle Rocco with coupons and scratch-off tickets. 4. Feed Nona daily so she doesn't get suspicious. 5. Figure out who was following me last night. Because that was still bothering me, and I had a feeling it wasn't just some guy. It felt too clean, too silent, too professional. That afternoon, I stopped by my cousin Luca's garage. Now, calling it a garage is generous. It's more like a bunker disguised as a body shop, where illegal imports go to take a nap and cousins go to hide from taxes. Hey, V, Luca said, sipping espresso from a ceramic mug shaped like a grenade. You look tense. I look tense because people are following me and I think Dad knows something. He paused mid-sip. Define something. Something. Vinny. Luca. He groaned. You told him, didn't you? No. Pause. He found out? No, but I think he's circling. Like a shark. Wearing loafers. Luca sighed, scratched his head, and muttered, I told you 2 weeks ago. You're on day 6 and we're already in Defcon cannoli. I need your help. He looked at me like I'd just asked him to explain the stock market. With what? I need to find out who was following me. Oh, that's all? And I need a clean phone line. And maybe a fake name. And possibly a decoy boyfriend who works in finance and sweats a lot. Luca stared, then nodded slowly. You're lucky I love you more than my collection of vintage Zippos. I know, and that's saying something. I got one signed by Joe Pesci. I know. Plan V1: How to date a cop without getting anyone killed. 1. Keep communication secret. Burner phones. Smoke signals. Very quiet telepathy. 2. Never mention him at family dinners. Who's Leo? Just a librarian who enjoys, baking and jiu-jitsu. 3. Distract Uncle Rocco with coupons and scratch-off tickets. 4. Feed Nona daily so she doesn't get suspicious. 5. Figure out who was following me last night. Because that was still bothering me, and I had a feeling it wasn't just some guy. It felt too clean, too silent, too professional. That afternoon, I stopped by my cousin Luca's garage. Now, calling it a garage is generous. It's more like a bunker disguised as a body shop, where illegal imports go to take a nap and cousins go to hide from taxes. Hey, V, Luca said, sipping espresso from a ceramic mug shaped like a grenade. You look tense. I look tense because people are following me and I think Dad knows something. He paused mid-sip. Define something. Something. Vinny. Luca. He groaned. You told him, didn't you? No. Pause. He found out? No, but I think he's circling. Like a shark. Wearing loafers. Luca sighed, scratched his head, and muttered, I told you 2 weeks ago. You're on day 6 and we're already in Defcon cannoli. I need your help. He looked at me like I'd just asked him to explain the stock market. With what? I need to find out who was following me. Oh, that's all? And I need a clean phone line. And maybe a fake name. And possibly a decoy boyfriend who works in finance and sweats a lot. Luca stared, then nodded slowly. You're lucky I love you more than my collection of vintage Zippos. I know, and that's saying something. I got one signed by Joe Pesci. I know. Later that night, Leo texted me, still alive. Didn't get cannoli today. Feels like a win. I replied, good. Keep your head down. I'm building a plan. You always say that right before something explodes. That's a coincidence. Is it though? Shish. I was in too deep. The clock was ticking, and for the first time, I didn't just want to survive this. I wanted us to survive. Because no matter how many people followed me, how many warnings got delivered in pastry boxes, how many rules we broke, I was done pretending this was temporary. This was real, and I was ready to fight for it. Preferably, without anyone getting shot. Luca came through, which is both impressive and deeply concerning. Within 24 hours, he had created an entirely fake identity for me. Vanessa Bellucci, a 26-year-old accountant with seasonal allergies and a deep love for spreadsheets. He also introduced me to my new, decoy boyfriend, Ricky. Ricky was tall, nervous, sweaty, and definitely not on the plan. This is a terrible idea, I whispered to Luca as we watched Ricky try to sip espresso without spilling it on his khakis. He looks safe, Luca said. He looks like he's scared of avocados. Exactly. Point taken. The idea was simple. If people were watching me, and at this point, let's be honest, they were, then they'd see me with Ricky and think, oh, look, she's dating an accountant. No drama here. Move along. It would give Leo room to breathe. It would give us space. It would also give me hives, because every second I spent pretending to date Ricky felt like cheating on someone I'd only technically told I loved with my eyeballs. Meanwhile, Leo was confused. Who's the dude in the glasses I saw you with outside the bakery? My tax consultant. He looked like he was about to faint. He probably was. Gluten triggers his anxiety. Vinny, I'm keeping you safe. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like I'm watching you fall in love with a calculator. I hate math. He didn't text back after that. And that's when I realized this plan was working, but it was also breaking us. That weekend, things got worse. I showed up at the family deli, thinking I could grab a sandwich and disappear before anyone important saw me. Instead, I walked in on my dad having a very quiet conversation with two strangers in suits. Not cousins, not uncles, not Italian. My blood went cold. I ducked behind a shelf of tomato sauce and eavesdropped like a guilty lasagna ghost. She's been seen with a detective. We're cleaning it up, one suit said. Good, my father replied. I want this done clean. No blood, no blood. That should have been comforting. It wasn't, because when my dad says, no blood, what he actually means is, no public mess. The cleanup still happens, just with bleach and expensive shoes. And if Leo was officially on their radar, that meant time was up. No more burner phones, no more cute text memes. No more, see you soon. That night, I showed up at Leo's apartment, heart racing. He opened the door, saw my face, and said nothing. Just pulled me inside. I'm sorry, I blurted. About Ricky, and the lies, and the very bad backup boyfriend plan. You were right. It's stupid. Yeah, he said, voice quiet. But I know why you did it. He didn't sound mad. He sounded tired, like a man who'd been holding his breath too long. I heard something today, I said. My dad, he's making moves. I think they're going to try and scare you off. Or worse. Leo nodded. I figured. You don't get it, Leo. This isn't just roughing someone up in an alley kind of warning. This will disappear without a trace of warning. He looked me dead in the eye. And what are you going to do about it? I don't know, I said honestly. But I'm not letting them touch you. And I'm not letting them take you away from me. Pause. Silence thick enough to choke on. Then he reached out, hand against my cheek, and said, I don't care if this ends badly. I just don't want it to end without trying. I laughed, even as my chest burned. You realize this is the dumbest love story ever told, right? He smiled. You started it, with a croissant. I kissed him, right there, like a girl in love with a cop who's about to get jumped by 3 uncles and a hitman named Frankie the Elbow. Because I was, and I didn't care anymore. Let them come, let them try. This was my mess, and I was going to fight for it, with or without carbs. So, after the kiss, after the warning, after the, your dad might erase my boyfriend, conversation, Leo made pancakes, with blueberries, like we weren't in the middle of a full-blown interfamily war that could end with someone in cement shoes. Do you want syrup? He asked. I stared at him. Do you want to live? He shrugged. You said they hadn't moved yet. Might as well enjoy breakfast before the apocalypse. You're too calm. You're too dramatic. You're too cute. Okay, that's fair. And that's when I realized we were in danger. But also, we were kind of adorable. Like Bonnie and Clyde, if Bonnie had anxiety and Clyde made great pancakes. The moment didn't last long. Because midway through breakfast, Leo's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He didn't answer. It buzzed again, then again. Then a text came in. Check the door. He froze. We both turned toward the door like it had grown fangs. I don't like this, I whispered. Leo grabbed a frying pan. Not a gun. Not pepper spray. A frying pan. This man was about to defend himself with cookware. I loved him so much it hurt. He opened the door, and on the ground sat a small cardboard box. Nothing written on it, just taped shut. We exchanged looks. He nudged it with his foot. It didn't explode, which was nice. Then he opened it. Inside, a cannoli, a single bullet, a note that said, stay out of Jersey. Classic. Leo didn't speak for a full minute. Finally, he said, this is the fanciest threat I've ever received. I nodded. They're going subtle. That's good. Means they're not sure about you yet. He glanced down at the cannoli. Can I eat it? No. Why not? Because it might be poisoned. But it looks amazing. I shoved it back in the box and tossed it in the freezer. If you're going to die, it's not going to be from a pastry, Leo. He sighed. You take all the fun out of mob threats. After that, things quieted. Like the calm before the really dramatic part in a Netflix series. I went home, pretended to care about Nona's soap operas, ate spaghetti under surveillance. Leo stayed at his apartment, worked late, tried to pretend his life wasn't being monitored by men named Rocco and Sal who think, confession, means say sorry or lose a kneecap. We didn't talk much. It was safer that way. But one night, I couldn't help it. I called him. Hey, I said. Hey, pause. You okay? He asked. No, I said honestly. But I miss you. I miss you too. I also miss your pancakes. I can make waffles. I smiled, heart flipping. Careful. That sounds dangerously like commitment. Then let's be reckless. The next day, I got a message from Luca. We got a problem. Bigger than expected. Call me. And whatever you do, don't go to Leo's place today. Too late, I was already on his doorstep. And someone else had beaten me there. I know what you're thinking. Why didn't she listen to Luca? Why did she go to Leo's place when she was clearly told not to? Because, dear reader, I am a Moretti. And our entire bloodline is powered by bad decisions and espresso. So there I was, standing outside Leo's apartment in fuzzy slippers and an oversized hoodie that said, "Don't talk to me until I've slept with your secrets." Mood. I was holding a bag of croissants. You know, peace offering, cute surprise, something to say, sorry my relatives threatened to unalive you with a pastry. And then I heard it. A voice, not Leo's, deep, cold, unbothered. I froze, tiptoed to the side of the door, pressed my ear to it like a raccoon with trust issues. You're making things difficult, Officer Hart. Okay, first of all, rude. Leo is a literal cinnamon roll with a badge. I'm not the one showing up uninvited, Leo replied. I peeked through the peephole. Tall man, black suit, no tie, no smile, one hand in his coat pocket like it was holding either a gun or an extremely aggressive pen. He was standing casually in Leo's kitchen, like he owned the place. I didn't recognize him, which was bad, because in my world, strangers in suits don't knock. They ruin lives. Walk away, the man said calmly. From her, from this, you're not equipped. Leo crossed his arms. Funny, that's exactly what people say about my air fryer, and yet here we are. Sir, this is not the time for banter. You're brave, the man said. That's not always a good thing. Neither is unannounced cannoli, Leo replied. This man was threatening him, and he was still throwing pastry shade. I was going to marry this idiot. If he survived, I knew I should walk away. Call Luca, call my dad, call literally anyone with backup and a grudge. But what did I do? I kicked the door open. Okay, I gently shoved it. Slippers, remember. Leo turned, so did the man in the suit. They both blinked at me. Vinny? Leo said, voice full of you absolute maniac, why are you here? Hi, I said brightly. You didn't answer my texts, so I bought croissants. Silence. The man in the suit looked at me like I was either the dumbest or most dangerous person in the room. Plot twist. I was both. Then he smiled. I immediately hated it. Miss Moretti, he said smoothly. A pleasure. Leo stepped between us, instantly in guard dog mode. Don't. The man raised a brow. Relax, detective. I'm just here to talk. No one ever says that and means it, I muttered. He chuckled. I only came to remind our friend here that some lines aren't meant to be crossed. He turned to Leo. Last chance. Leo said nothing, did nothing, just stared at him down like a silent, angry waffle. The man nodded once, then looked at me. Shame. You'd make a wonderful widow. And then he left, like that, just walked out, like it was a casual Tuesday. Leo and I stood in silence for a long moment. Then I broke it with the only words I had. He didn't even take a croissant. Leo finally let out a breath. What the hell, Vinny? I brought snacks? You kicked in my door. It was gently aggressive. He ran both hands down his face. Then, to my surprise, I started laughing. Not like, haha, that was funny. Like, oh no, I'm losing my mind and this is how it begins. I walked over, put the croissant bag on the counter, sat down. He sat across from me. We stared at each other like two people who just narrowly avoided death but are still emotionally unavailable. I think they're serious now, I whispered. Leo nodded. Yeah, me too. I reached for a croissant. He stopped me. That one's poisoned, remember? Oh, right. We sat there in silence. Croissant between us. Feelings on fire. And somewhere, deep in the universe, the gods of bad timing were loading the next level of chaos. So, to recap, Leo was threatened. I ruined a perfectly good intimidation scene by showing up in slippers. A mystery man in a suit told me I'd make a great widow. And the croissants are still sitting on the counter like emotionally unstable witnesses. We didn't talk much after that. Just existed in the same room. Him, pacing. Me, stress-eating. Mostly the safe-looking croissants. I'm not an idiot. Finally, Leo sat down and said the most terrifying words a man can say to the girl he's risking his life for. Maybe we need to step back. My heart stopped, rebooted, then short-circuited. From the croissants? He gave me a look. Not angry, not cold, worse, sad. I mean it, Vinny. No, 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 we are not having the talk. I'm serious, so am I refuse to be dumped while I'm holding baked goods. He sighed, leaned back, rubbed his eyes. I'm not dumping you, I'm trying to keep you alive. Oh, great, we're doing noble sacrifice mode. I hate the noble sacrifice mode. Vinny, no. If anyone gets to dramatically walk away while whispering, I did it for you, it's me. That's my brand. Your brand is pastry-based denial. I'm incredibly consistent. He looked at me, that look again, like I was both the reason he woke up happy, and the reason he was going to need therapy for the next 15 years. Finally, he spoke. I'm going to file a report. Silence. I blinked. Like, with the police? I am the police. You're also dating the mafia. Exactly. I stood. Leo, that's a death sentence. So is this. His voice cracked. Not loud, not angry, just tired. I can't keep pretending this is normal, Vinny. It's not. Every day I wake up and wonder if someone's going to plant something in my car. If someone's going to find out I'm with you. If someone's going to hurt you, shut me up. He stood now too, face inches from mine. I love you. I froze. What? You heard me. Say it again. No. Say it again. Vinny. I will faint if you don't say it again. He exhaled like he was in physical pain. I love you. I grinned. You're so dramatic. You bring mafia drama to my doorstep and I'm the dramatic one? Yes. Pause. We stood there, eye to eye. Breath to breath. Waffle-loving cop and chaos-wrapped daughter of organized crime. And for a second, none of it mattered. Just us. Alive. Still in love. Still ridiculously doomed. My phone buzzed. I checked the screen. Luca. Now or never. Plans in motion. Are you ready? I turned back to Leo. We're doing something stupid tonight. He didn't blink. Wouldn't be us if we didn't. Here's a fun fact. If you want to break someone's heart without actually breaking it, you do it in a coffee shop. Loud enough for people to hear. Soft enough that only one person knows you're lying. So there we were. Corner booth. Leo in his usual hoodie. Me in sunglasses the size of a small country. 2 iced lattes between us. One slowly melting, the other untouched. I was chewing on my straw like it owed me money. Leo leaned forward, voice steady. I don't think this is working. There it was. The line. The one that ends couples. Shatters hopes. Wrecks group chats. My stomach dropped. Even though I knew the plan. Even though I suggested the plan. Even though we rehearsed it twice and even gave each other safe words like 2 very emotionally damaged improv actors. Still hurt. I blinked twice, for dramatic effect. You're breaking up with me? In a cafe? With oat milk? He gave a half shrug. I figured it was neutral territory. You figured wrong, I said flatly. This place sells emotional damage with extra foam. He didn't smile. He was good at this. Too good. I just think, we're from different worlds. Wow, I whispered. You went full Disney. He kept going. You're chaos. I'm order. You're pancakes. I'm pastry. You're organized crime. I'm an organized guy. I squinted. That one was lazy. I panicked. People were staring, that was the point. We wanted eyes. We wanted whispers. We wanted word to get back to the suit man, to my dad, to anyone watching us like a telenovela. Leo leaned back, delivering the final blow with deadpan brilliance. It's over, Vinny. Then he stood, walked out, didn't look back, didn't take his latte, didn't even pocket the loyalty card he had 6 stamps on. Now that's commitment. I sat there alone, eyes watering, but not because of the breakup. Because the plan was now real. We were split, publicly, loudly, convincingly. And from this point forward, I couldn't protect him by standing next to him. I had to protect him, by staying far away. That night, I went back to Luca's garage, headquarters, failing vending machine graveyard. He was waiting with a map, 3 burner phones, and an empty bag of marshmallows. Word got out, he said. Nice performance. Thanks. I died inside a little. You always look like that. Rude. Leo, meanwhile, was slipping into a different role. Detective hat back on. Cop face locked in. Operation Suit Ghost was underway. Luca had dug up a lead. Our mystery man? Possibly connected to a shell corp out of Atlantic City. Name? Unknown. Alias? Too many. Actual job? Fixer. Cleaner. Eraser of messy situations. Someone hired him to scare Leo off. Now Leo's job was to find out who. And mine? Pretend we'd never met. That lasted 3 days, until I caught myself texting him in the middle of the night, "Still alive?" He replied in 12 seconds, "Barely. You? Lonely. But my latte loyalty card is still in your jacket. I'd die for you, but I will not give it back." I stared at the screen for a long time. Smiled. Just a little. Because even apart, even playing our roles, we were still us. Disaster couple. Pastry lovers. Chaos and order. We just had to survive long enough to reunite. Without croissants, without bullets, without actual heartbreak. Just one more act. One more trick. One more chapter. It started with Nona making me soup. That should have been the first red flag. Nona doesn't make soup. Nona orders people to make soup. When she's in the kitchen, someone's either dying, getting married, or about to be emotionally blackmailed. I was still in pajama pants. Hadn't even brushed my hair. And suddenly, I was handed a bowl of steaming minestrone and told, "Eat before the car comes." "The what?" "The car," Nona said sweetly, wiping her hands on a floral apron. "For your little trip." Pause. Trip? Yes. To where? Somewhere nice. Where no cell signal exists. Exactly. Great. I was being kidnapped by my own family. They called it a cool-off retreat. I called it witness protection in a very cozy prison. Somewhere upstate. Big house. Tall gates. Too many curtains. No Wi-Fi. No signal. No Leo. I had my own room. My own bathroom. Even a bookshelf full of calming literature, which I'm 99% sure was curated by someone who's never been in love or committed tax fraud. No one told me how long I'd be there. They just said, "Until things settle." And in mafia speak, that means, until we know your boyfriend either gives up or disappears. I tried to text him, nothing went through. I tried to call, deadline. I tried to sneak out. Twice. They replaced the doorknob with one that locks from the outside. Very girl boss hostage vibes. At night, I stared at the ceiling, wondered what Leo was doing. If he was still following leads. If he thought I left him. If he was okay. If we were okay. And somewhere deep in my heart, a voice whispered, "You asked for time. Now the universe gave it to you. Alone. Isolated. With only soup and bad poetry. Thanks, universe." Love the irony. Meanwhile, back in the real world, Leo was unraveling. Luca told me later, in secret, with a burner phone hidden in a box of biscotti, that after the breakup, Leo went hard. Pulled surveillance. Tracked shell corporations. Found the name, Carlo Marchesi. An alias. Possibly the man in the suit. Possibly worse. But then, he started asking about me. And that's when the warning came. Straight from my dad. Tell him to stop digging. Or he'll be buried with what he finds. And just like that, the lines went cold. Luca stopped answering him. The trail vanished. Leo had no idea where I was, no way to reach me. And no clue if I was safe. I sat in that room for days. Counting spoons. Reading crime thrillers and muttering, "Amateurs." Writing his name on a napkin like some kind of Victorian ghost bride. Until one afternoon, the door opened. And someone stepped in I didn't expect. I was on day 9 of captivity. My socks didn't match. My bangs were doing their own revolution. And the houseplant in the corner had started judging me out loud. Probably in Italian. I was mid-eye roll at the wall when I heard it. A soft click. Not the normal, known as bringing chamomile tea, click. A sharper one. Like someone picking a lock. I froze. Stared at the door. It cracked. Opened slowly. And then, he stepped in. Leo. Hair messier than usual. Face tired. Eyes on fire. Still in that ridiculous dark hoodie that made him look like a brooding barista with access to police records. "Hey," he said. I blinked. Then blinked again. Then did the most logical thing I could. Threw my pillow at him. "You. What? How?" He caught the pillow mid-air. "Hi," he said again. "Nice pillow. You absolute. You. What are you doing here?" "I came to get you." I stared. "Leo, this place is locked. Patrolled. You can't just walk in like you're James Bond." "I didn't walk," he said calmly. I climbed. Through the back. Up the drainpipe. Past 2 guys playing Uno and 1 cat with a knife. Pause. The cat had a knife? Focus. Right. He closed the door quietly. Then I crossed the room, real slow. Sat on the edge of the bed like we weren't committing 16 kinds of felony-level bad idea right now. I had to see you, he said. My throat clenched. They said you'd stop digging. They also said the croissant was safe. Touché. He looked at me then. Really looked. Like he hadn't let himself do it until now. You okay? No, I whispered. I've been locked in a mafia Airbnb for 9 days with no Wi-Fi and too much soup. He gave the ghost a smile. Then reached into his pocket. Pulled out a cannoli. Wrapped. Untouched. Safe. My jaw dropped. You smuggled dessert into a mafia safe house? I love you, he said. My heart stopped. Then leapt. You're insane. He nodded. Completely. We sat in silence for a second. Then I whispered, they'll be back soon. If they catch you, I'll be gone before then. But why risk it? He looked at me like I'd asked why air exists. Because I couldn't go another night not knowing if you were okay. I know we're pretending to be over. I know I'm supposed to be smart and strategic and whatever. But I love you, and I needed to see your face to remember why I'm doing this. I nearly melted into the rug. You idiot, I said. You're idiot, he replied. Then stood, reluctantly, like it hurt. Take the cannoli. Don't eat the napkin. There's a message inside. What kind of message? The kind that says where we go next. Pause. Together? He looked back, hand on the doorknob. Always. Then he was gone. Out the door. Into the night. Like a legend in sweatpants. And me? I unwrapped the cannoli. Unfolded the tiny napkin inside. It said one word. Soon. It was 2:17 a.m. I was wearing a hoodie, sunglasses, and what I'd like to call assassin chic, but what was basically pajamas and anxiety. Luca had arranged the meeting. Told me to go behind the bakery. The one with the broken neon sign, he said. If anyone follows you, trip over something stupid so they think you're harmless. I brought a muffin. For cover. And emotional support. He was already there when I arrived. Leo. Leaning against the brick wall like some kind of noir detective who also probably cries during Pixar movies. He looked up. Smirked. You're late. You're early. You're holding a muffin like a weapon. I panicked. We didn't hug. Didn't kiss. Not yet. Just stood there. Close and quiet. Two people in love with each other and at war with the universe. I missed you, I whispered. I know. Then. So what's the plan? And just like that, we were back. Leo pulled out a folded paper. Like this was middle school and we were passing love notes during math class. Carlo Marchesi, he said. That's our guy. Suit man? Worse. He's not just a fixer. He's a broker. Buys and sells leverage, secrets, people, works under at least 3 aliases and 1 fake charity. Gross. I traced a meeting. 2 days from now. Jersey. Quiet villa. Probably off books. And you want to crash it? I want us to crash it. My jaw dropped. You're asking me to crash a mafia-adjacent meeting with you? Leo, that's practically a proposal. He smiled, then leaned in, voice low. We go in quiet. You distract. I listen. Luca runs backup. We record everything. We leak what matters. And what doesn't, we keep. For future blackmail? For future safety. Hot. I nodded slowly. You're really doing this. I'm tired of running. Tired of pretending. He looked at me. I want us to end this. Not just survive it. I blinked. Wow. What? That was the hottest thing you've ever said. Oh yeah? I kissed him. Quick. Like we didn't have time, but we'd waited long enough. When we broke apart, he was breathless. Nice. Shut up. You wanna run it back? Leo. Right. Plan first. Romance later. We sat on milk crates. Mapped it all out. Entry points. Timing. Disguises. Escape routes. At one point, he paused and said, You really think we can pull this off? I didn't hesitate. I've pulled off harder. Like pretending I didn't love you for 3 weeks. He grinned. I did not pull that off. When we finally parted, for now, he handed me a burner phone. Only Luca has the number. And me. I slipped it into my pocket. Stared at him a beat longer. Then whispered, Let's burn their empire down. Let me paint the scene. Midnight. One road. No streetlights. A fancy villa sitting on the edge of Jersey like it was trying to pretend it didn't know what state it was in. Inside. Suits, secrets, and at least 2 people who might accidentally explode if you poke them wrong. Outside. Me and Leo. In matching black, armed with Bluetooth earpieces, burner phones, and 3 weeks of romantic tension that could knock out the power grid. Luca was our eyes on the outside. His voice crackled in my ear. You're 5 minutes out. Security's light on the east wing. There's a service entry behind the kitchen. Don't mess this up or I'm deleting you from the family group chat. Reassuring. Leo glanced at me. You ready? No, I whispered, but I look great, so it balances out. We moved. Low. Fast. Silent. Like two idiots who watched too many spy movies and actually learned something. The kitchen window was half open. I boosted Leo up. He pulled me in. We landed behind a stack of crates labeled, imported cheese, do not touch. I touched it anyway. He gave me a look. Now is not the time. There's always time for cheese. Inside, the air was thick with money and danger. The kind of place where no one says please, and everyone says, you didn't see that, at least once per conversation. Leo led the way. I followed. Heartbeats synced. Footsteps are soft. Until we reached the hallway. The one with the glass room at the end. Inside. The suit man, Carlo Marchesi. In the flesh. Wearing a smug expression and holding a glass of something expensive, probably filtered through fear and capitalism. He was talking to someone. We couldn't hear yet. Leo pulled out a mic booster. Slipped it under the door. We crouched. Listened. The cops still poking around, Carlo said, voice smooth. We need a tighter net. What about the girl? A second voice asked. The Moretti brat? She's quiet. Her family's keeping her tucked away. Good dogs, when paid properly. Think she knows anything? Too much, but not enough to act. We'll deal with her if the cop doesn't back off. I felt Leo tense beside me, like his spine was turning to stone. I squeezed his hand. His fingers curled around mine like it was the only thing keeping him grounded. Luca's voice buzzed in my ear. I'm recording. Get out of there before someone notices the power drain. We stood, turned. Then, a voice behind us. You're not staff. Oh. We spun around. One guard, big. Shiny shoes. Probably named Tony. Leo didn't hesitate. Bam. One well-placed elbow. Tony went down like a sack of regret. Leo dragged him into the cheese room. I was in love. We bolted for the exit, dodged cameras, leapt over a flower bed. Ran like hell, heart pounding. Not from fear. From finally fighting back. From doing this together. From not being powerless anymore. We made it to the car. Luca peeled out like he was in Fast and Furious, pastry drift. In the backseat, Leo grabbed my hand again. We were sweaty, breathless, totally doomed, but oh my god, we were alive. I laughed so hard I cried. Leo looked at me like I was either losing it or finding it. What? I gasped. We just stole secrets from a mafia broker, while hiding behind cheese. He grinned. Think we make a good team? I nodded. Yeah, like Bonnie and Clyde. If Clyde was a cop. And Bonnie had anxiety. And everyone was lactose intolerant. We were still high on adrenaline, still laughing in Luca's busted-up car. Still replaying the heist like we were invincible. You elbowed that guy like you'd done it before, I told Leo. I have, he said. Only that time, it was at a wedding. Iconic. We parked in the underground garage under Luca's legit business. Read. Fake laundromat, one working dryer, full surveillance setup in the back room. We burst through the metal door, giddy, alive, ridiculous. Play it back, Leo said. Luca hit rewind. The screen showed Carlo, the audio crisp. The girl? We'll deal with her if the cop doesn't back off. Leo clenched his jaw. I stood taller. We leaked this to a few trusted outlets, Luca said. It'll blow up in less than 12 hours. Let's make him sweat, Leo nodded. We were hyped. We were untouchable. We were being watched. It started subtle. The screen flickered. The lights dimmed. Then, the monitor cut to black. Then white. Then a different feed altogether. Not ours. Theirs. A camera. Somewhere close. Showing us. Right now. I stared at myself on screen. Frozen. Mouth open. Eyes wide. Behind us, the garage door slammed shut. And then, hello, kids, said a voice. We spun. Carlo Marchesi. Not on screen. In person. In a suit so sharp it probably had a body count. Behind him. 4 men, no smiles. No nerves. Just purpose. Guns drawn. Leo shoved me behind him in one fluid motion. Carlo, he said. Calm. Measured. Cop mode. Impressive work, Carlo said, strolling forward. Really. The break-in, the recording, the dramatic little kiss behind the bakery. I especially liked the cheese room. Very cinematic. Luca cursed under his breath. You knew, I whispered. Of course I knew, Carlo smiled. You think I'd let 2 overly hormonal idiots with trust issues waltz into my meeting and walk out clean? Why let us walk out at all? Leo asked. Because I wanted to see how far you'd go. How bold love makes a man. Or a girl. He looked at me then. You're your father's daughter. I stepped out from behind Leo. Don't flatter me. You're not even close to his league. No, Carlo agreed. But I'm close enough to yours. He raised a hand. The guns clicked. Leo moved fast. Pulled me down. Gunfire ripped through the monitors. Luca dove behind the desk, yanking open a hidden panel. More noise. Shouting. Smoke. I heard Leo curse. He'd been hit. Not badly, not fatally, but enough to make my stomach twist. Leo, go, he shouted, shoving a burner into my hands. Get out, now. I'm not leaving. Vinny, I'd rather bleed out than see them touch you. Typical dramatic idiot. Luca threw something. A flashbang, I think. Boom. I was pulled through a back exit, lungs burning, heart racing. Leo behind me, still bleeding, still shooting, still mine. We made it out, barely. But this was no longer a game. Carlo had shown his hand. And now, we were all in. The safe house was a cabin. Somewhere in the woods, middle of nowhere, no internet, no enemies, no distractions, just Leo, on a couch, bleeding into a towel that used to be white. And me, holding pressure to his side and reconsidering every decision that led me to this point. Stop moving, I snapped. I'm fine, he grunted. You're leaking, Leo. He smirked, pale but still cocky. You make it sound like I'm a faucet. You're bleeding through my favorite hoodie. That faucet analogy ends now. He groaned as I tightened the wrap. Jesus, language, you're in a forest chapel now. He chuckled, then I winced. Don't make me laugh. It hurts. So stop saying funny things. Can't help it. I'm charming. I rolled my eyes. Then, I looked at him. Really looked. His lashes were damp with sweat. His jaw clenched, trying not to let me see how much it hurt. But he let me touch him. Let me help. And that cracked something in me. I thought I lost you. I didn't mean to say it out loud. But it slipped out, like a breath, like a confession. He looked at me, eyes soft. You didn't, but I could've. They aimed for you. If I hadn't pulled you. Then I would have died knowing you were still standing. I choked. Don't say stuff like that. He reached out, touched my hand. Weak, but steady. I mean it. Every time I think about how close we came to not having this, it kills me more than any bullet ever could. I swallowed. My voice was quiet. You scared me. I scare myself sometimes. I love you, idiot. That's new. No, it's not. I've just been too busy running to say it. He pulled me down gently. Onto the couch beside him. I curled into his good side. One of his arms wrapped around me, tight and trembling. And for a while, we just sat like that. No plans, no schemes, no running. Just two people who almost didn't make it. But did. Outside, the storm hadn't hit yet. But it was coming. Inside, we were quiet. But not empty. Not anymore. When this is over, he whispered, I want waffles. And you. And a tiny apartment with bad plumbing. Deal, I whispered back. But I get to name the cat. Only if it's something normal. His name is Sir Stabbington III. We'll negotiate. Carlo thought we were hiding. Wounded, scattered, defeated. And he was right, for exactly 36 hours. Then we stopped licking our wounds. And started baking the perfect revenge. We leaked the tape, but not to the press. Too messy, too noisy. Instead, we sent it straight to 3 people. 1. The FBI. 2. The IRS. 3. And Carlo's biggest rival, a woman named Morella Marchesi, who also happens to be his sister. Family drama? Yes. Explosive? Absolutely. While the world of Carlo began to implode from the inside, we went silent. Publicly dead. Privately planning. We needed him to be confident. We needed him exposed. And most importantly, we needed him to come to us. Luca helped set the trap. A fake deal. An anonymous bidder. A chance for Carlo to escape all this by selling his last leverage. A flash drive full of blackmail on every official he's ever bribed. He showed up. Alone. Because of course he did. Men like him always think they're smarter than the room. But that night, we were the room. Carlo stepped into the warehouse. Fog machine on. Lights low. Mood. Dramatic justice score. We watched from above. Leo beside me, arm in a sling, eyes locked. Ready? I asked. He nodded. Let's end this. Carlo reached the table, saw the flash drive, smirked. Then he heard it. My voice. Projected from the speakers. Smile, Carlo. You're being watched. And not just by us. He froze. Looked up. Right at the red dot from the sniper on his chest. Thanks. FBI. This is a setup, he barked. Obviously, I replied. Did you think you were the only one who could bait people? You think this ends me? No, I know it does. He made a move for the drive. But before he could touch it, boom, doors kicked in. FBI, IRS, rival mafiosos, all simultaneously. That's overkill, Leo whispered. That's closure, I said. Carlo was arrested, charged, disowned, exposed. His empire crumbled, his enemies feasted. And us? We walked out of that warehouse, free. A month later, Leo and I sat on a park bench. Waffle in hand, cat on his lap. We named him Stabbington. Are we good? He asked. I smiled, leaned against him. We're great. No more mafia? Just brunch. No more bullets? Only if I run out of sass. He laughed, then kissed me. And for once, no one was chasing us. No one was watching. It was just us. At peace. At last. The end.